It is my absolute joy to introduce our guest for today's conversation, Mary Berry. Mary is the executive director and founder of the Berry Center, which boldly and in so many inspiring ways puts her father, Wendell Berry's work into action. Among other things, advancing sustainable farming in rural communities. Raised on her family's farm in Henry County, Kentucky, she has farmed herself, beginning with dairy and tobacco, and later diversifying into organic vegetables, pastured poultry, and grass-fed beef. Mary is married to Kentucky farmer Steve Smith, who launched the state's first community-supported agriculture program, and together they have 3 daughters who represent the family's 9th generation in Henry County. A national speaker and advocate for agriculture of the middle, Berry champions small farmers and the renewal of rural communities and cultures. Her writings have appeared in collections such as Letters to a Young Farmer and as the introduction to a new edition of Our Sustainable Table. Mary, welcome.
Oh, thank you. I feel most welcome. Thank you.
In our fall series, which we are calling The Gospel of Life, we are highlighting figures whose lives and work have inspired in some way the remaking of the world, bringing new life and renewal, hope and love to people, to creatures, to places excluded and exploited. And I think Wendell is the perfect person to begin this series this fall. When I asked Mary, what is the gospel according to Wendell Berry, she said, I want to hear how you'd answer that first. So having been not a small fan of Wendell since I first encountered his readings in divinity school in 2007, I thought of 2 quotes right away. One we heard in the movie last night. Truly look at something or someone, see that they are good, and don't forget it. I also thought about this one.
That was me.
That was you.
Well, like, when did Daddy say that? Oh,
even better.
Well, good for me.
And then I thought, when we lose our connection to the earth, we sever a connection with a vital part of ourselves, and by extension, others too. And then I thought of the words of Deuteronomy 6 from the Hebrew Scriptures, famously quoted by Jesus in the Gospels. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Wendell embodies that scripture to me through steadfast commitment in all one's energy and all the gifts at one's disposal for the repair of the world. Your turn.
Well, I guess that's enough said, isn't it? Well, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you all for having me here. It's been lovely to be here. I've been taken care of by Lori, and this has given me a chance to see my wonderful friend Debbie Barker, and I'm looking forward to going home tomorrow. I always look forward to going home, and I'm going to tell my dear father, who's 91 now, that he has distant neighbors here that are standing for what he stands for. The first thing I thought when you asked me about the gospel according to my father was the quotation people use quite often, which is, what I stand for is what I stand on. But it's bigger than that. You have to take everything into consideration. I think we talked about this. We can't leave anything out now, and we've been leaving things out, well, for a long, long time. I wrote this morning, so I hope it makes sense right now. Just thinking about the time we're in and what my father has stood for. We are in the age of the machine. Daddy uses the term machine. The great Irish writer, I think, great Irish writer, Kingsnorth, lost his first name at the moment, but talks about what's going on now as the machine. My father has called it the economy. But I think you all will understand what I mean when I say we are in the age of the machine. It is the time we were born into. We can't leave it, so we have to fully inhabit it. We have to understand it, challenge it, resist it, subvert it, walk through it on towards something better. People, place, prayer, the past, human community, roots in the natural world, connection to God, memories passed down and on. These are the precious things. And I see that that's what you all are doing here. I see it was wonderful to be in your garden yesterday evening and to hear the story of how all that's come to pass. And that is important. And in this world of big solutions, those who've worked on it know it is not a small thing. But in the world's eyes, it might be considered a small thing, but it is not a small thing. It is a radical thing. It is what I've learned from my father, which is we can all do something good. We just have to get started right where we are. And my father actually says it will never get so bad that a person of good intention can't do the right thing that's right in front of them to do, and that's what you've done. And I'm sure you do it in many other ways. We've been heavily focused on the garden, which has been an extreme pleasure.
Yes, thank you. And beautiful how you wrote that this morning. So this good news,
Yes.
According to your father, how are you putting that into action at the Berry Center? And perhaps what are some of the greatest challenges you face and some of the greatest joys?
Well, it's a proper challenge to try to create, to work with what we know, to come up with or to work toward, I should say, an economy and a culture that will support good land use, good farming. In this cheap food economy that we've got, it is still to be proven to me, although I'm going to die trying, that you can pay everyone fairly in that system. Farmers first, processors, distributors, everyone along the line. It is yet to be proven, and we're working hard to do that every day. But I will say this. We have 4 programs at the Berry Center, which would probably take the rest of the morning to explain, but I hope, if you all are interested, that you'll find the time to look up what we do. But what's been wonderful to me is that we started in 2013, and in what has seemed like a very short amount of time, where the community was coming apart, it is coming back together. I've listened to young farmers who I know to be struggling. I'm not talking about people who inherited farms. I'm talking about people who were born with the passion to farm, born into farm families, and have bought farms of their own. And I know how they struggle. But I've also heard them say, or help us bring new farmers in when they could make more money if we just gave them more part of the cooperative beef program that we're working on. So quickly, people begin to heal. And as my husband says, land and people can heal quickly if just given a little help. Just a little help.
Yes, indeed.
Well, a little help, and then you've got to stick to it. A little help, and then continue it. Yes.
Indeed. I love this phrase that's in your bio, that you are a proponent of agriculture of the middle. I wonder if you could speak more to that. That phrase really resonates. And perhaps also talk about what we've lost, to the behemoth of industrial agriculture in this country, and what might the achievement of a restored economy, a just economy, look like?
Well, that's a small question. Thank you for that. What we've lost is a healthy country. What we've lost is rural America. It's still there, but we've lost the people. We have 0.75% of this country farming now. So when there's all this talk about keeping ground covered and sequestering carbon, well, who's going to do it? Who knows how to do it? This is something we have to think about. I think losing decent economies in rural places has led us to the often chaotic climate of today, and I don't think people are thinking enough about that and taking that seriously enough. Agriculture in the middle is an actual census statistic or a line item. So if, in case people here don't know, what we have right now in our agriculture is we have large and industrial, which has taken over agriculture, or we have small and entrepreneurial. That would be farmers markets, CSAs. These things benefited me, they've benefited my husband, they've benefited many farmers who tried to keep farming under the current economic conditions. And the economy for farming hasn't ever been great. I mean, you read Daddy's work, you'll see the history of that. In fact, I don't think we've ever valued country people very much. I think we've considered, I mean, if you read much in history, and I've read some, it's hard to find places where country people were valued. They were peasants, and there were plenty of them. So they were burnt out, and they were starved out, but there were more. Well, we've run out. I speak as one. We've run out. We've run out of the people who actually know how to live in particular places. So what our emphasis is as ag in the middle, or people who live from farming, and people called to farm, people who could actually, if we have regional farm economies, which is a whole nother subject, who could put good food on grocery store shelves, who could feed schools and so on. So it's just putting something in the middle where there is right now almost nothing.
Yeah. So how might you imagine urban centers and communities like the city of Los Angeles complementing or furthering or maybe participating in this vision?
Well, first of all, the word vision is an important one. Vision is lacking all over the country. I think it's what we're after. People want health and they want harmony, but there's not much vision for it. And I think churches need to be the place that are giving an agrarian vision to people. What does this look like? What does this feel like? The easy answer to your question is that urban places are a market. I mean, this disconnect between urban and rural places is maybe one of the worst divides in the country. We need to put that back together. My father says, put back together what never should have come apart. But we're going to have to shrink this economy. We're going to have to make food systems smaller. I've got some ideas about how to do that, but nobody's called me from D.C. yet. But I'll be ready when they do. Yes. I also think that we need to think. We need to take if we're Christian, we need to take that very seriously. It turns out doing unto others as you would have them do unto you is an economic principle. We need to think in urban centers that everything we do has consequences somewhere else. And we, as I said, we can't get out of this, but we can do better. I would also ask that people who are doing this, and all over the country this is happening, these wonderful gardens, this work you're doing here, that needs to deepen into thoughts about farming. It needs to be thought of as an art. It's the art by which we live. Yes, that's not a very good, those are three answers, none of them probably what you need.
Absolutely.
Would you like
we need.
to ask it again?
And the art of how we live. I love that expression.
The art of farming, yeah, the art by which we live.
Especially as we think about caring for the earth.
Yeah, I think that's one of Daddy's gifts to us.
Indeed.
To remind us of this.
Yeah. Often we ask the question in conversations like this, what can we do? But I'd like to ask it this way.
Okay.
What mustn't we leave out as we continue the transformation of our campuses' earth spaces for growing healthy organic food for our neighbors?
I don't know that I can answer that well enough because I don't live here. But I know that for my work at the Berry Center, I don't want to leave anything out. I want to think about everything. And in the time I've spent here, listening to people talk about the work here, I think that's what's motivating people. I think they want to make a whole here, a WHOLE.
Yes.
I love the idea, for instance, of planting those fruit trees so they hang over the fence and people can take food. I think that's a beautiful thing. I mean, just for a moment, these people that take that fruit are out of the money economy, just for a moment. Yeah. So, my friend Wes Jackson, who started the Land Institute in Salina, Kansas, one of my father's dearest friends and a great man, says he likes to talk about the ecosphere. Now, my father thinks that's an ugly word, but the ecosphere is everything. It's the living and then the dead. It's everything. So we just aren't thinking deeply enough about anything. We're leaving it all out. Gives you a good place to start.
It sure does. That's a broad palette. If there were maybe just one excerpt from among your father's extensive writings in poetry and essay and in novels, a writing perhaps that you wish everyone could hear and heed, what might that be?
Well, I have two. So I'm going to choose one. And I'm going to choose a poem called The Record, because the other choice that I brought is a piece from my daddy's upcoming novel called Mars Catlett, The Force of a Story. And I really would love to read it to you, but I think it'll make me cry. So I'm not going to. But my mother came up with the title Mars Catlett, The Force of the Story, because I'm now the fourth generation, motivated by the story of my great-grandfather coming home from the sale of his 1906 tobacco crop with nothing. This is the story of agriculture. After he paid the warehouse fees and so on, he came home with nothing. And so the book is about my grandfather, who in fiction is called Wheeler Catlett, coming home. He goes to Washington. He's asked to go there by a representative. He works in D.C. and he goes to law school. He's offered, as one might be if you're a likely young, well-known, smart young man in 1927, he was offered a rather very lucrative job. And he went in and said to his boss, I'm going home. So he took his sophistication, what he'd learned in D.C., and he took it home, and he put under diversified, good farming, a stable economy that lasted for decades. So the poem I've read, and it probably would have taken me less time to actually read the excerpt, but anyway, the poem I've chosen is along the same theme. It's Be the Next One. And it's called The Record. My old friend tells us how the country changed, where the grist mill was on Cane Run, now gone, where the peach orchard was, gone too, where the Springport Road was gone, beneath returning trees, how the creek ran 3 weeks after a good rain, long ago, no more. How when these hillsides first were plowed, the soil was black and deep, no stones, and that was long ago. Where the wild turkeys roosted in the old days, you'd have to know this country mighty well before I could tell you where. And my young friend says, have him speak this into a recorder. It is precious. It should be saved. I know the panic of that wish to save, the vital knowledge of the old times handed down. For it is rising off the earth, fraying away, in the wind and the coming day. As the machines come and the people go, the old names rise, chattering, and depart. But knowledge of my own going into old time tells me no, Because it must be saved, do not tell it to a machine to save it. That old man speaking you have heard since your boyhood, since his prime, his voice speaking out of lives long dead, their minds speaking in his own. By winter fires in fields and woods, in barns, while rain beat on the roofs and wind shook the girders, stay and listen until he dies or you die. For death is in this, a grief is in it. Live here as one who knows these things. Stay if you live. Listen and answer. Listen to the next one like him if there is to be one. Be the next one like him if you must. Stay and wait. Tell your children. Tell them to tell their children. As you depart toward the coming light, turn back and speak. As the creek steps downward over the rocks, saying the same changing thing in the same place as it goes. When the record is made, the unchanging word carried to a safe place, in a time not here, the assemblage of minds, dead and living, the loved lineage dispersed, silent, turned away, the dead at last, it will be too late. So I think what I'm so anxious for as I myself get older is who are the next ones? Who takes this up? And we have a culture, it seems to me, that's fairly apathetic. And we owe it to the young. Well, you're young. Okay. I owe it to the young to say, to give them something to come home to share with them what needs to be shared, and to encourage. Yeah.
That's beautiful, Mary. Thank you. And in terms of a last question to wrap up this wonderful conversation, this place has been, and especially is now in these days, a place of refuge, a place where we hold hope together. And I'm wondering, what is your hope in these days, and what is sustaining that hope? And that can be as specific as you want in your field or more broadly. What would you leave us by way of hope?
Well, let me start with, I'm as petty and more than occasionally lazy and all the things that people are, but I don't have trouble with hope. And starting the Berry Center has helped me be doing the work. And what I've learned from the people that have gone before me is that we are responsible to do the work. We are not responsible for the outcome. So just do the work. Do the work. And if it can't be done one way, do it another. So I've just been a very lucky woman. So many people have to choose somehow, and I have great respect for the choices people make to choose a way. I was handed a way, and all I had to do was accept it. So thank you, to my parents.
And to that, may it be so. May it be so for all of us. Thank you, Mary.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.